Just FYI, I am not trying to pick a fight with Barry. He didn't do a video about me. I'm sorry. This was about his latest video on repentance, where he was saying, look, let's not attack the word repentance. But I had some different views about how the word is used after the resurrection of Christ. And that a Pauline understanding of the nature of the work of Christ will kind of redefine that word as well as some other phrases. For example, I use the example of take up your cross. Jesus said, take up your cross. And Paul said, we've been crucified with Christ. So our understanding changes because of the significance of the work of Christ, right? Well, that was in a comment thread that I was talking to him in the comment thread, and he said, look, that sounds like hyper-dispensationalism. And then he was saying, Jesus definitely taught sanctification. I said, Jesus did not teach sanctification for the believer. That was revealed by the ascended Christ after he resurrected. And he's like, no, he did. He talked about taking up your cross. That's for sanctification. And then he said, he talked about giving, being more generous giver, and loving God with all your heart. And so that's where I said he broke it down in terms of works. But sanctification is Christ himself. And that's really what Pauline revelation is all about, is Christ manifested in me. It's not that I'm trying to put together a patchwork of different works for my sanctification, is that Christ as life is manifested in me and magnified in my mortal body. And that is not taught in seminaries really, or in churches by any means. And because I made such a big reference to this is Pauline truth, he, I guess, thought I was coming from a hyper-dispensational background. So he warned me against that and said I was in error. And then I responded a couple times, but he didn't respond because it was, at that point, he'd moved on to the next comment or whatever. This is in no means to try to start a fight with Barry or get anybody to think that there's anything wrong. Well, the reason I was grieved was because the conversation stopped, and I don't have a way to let him know I'm not a hyper-dispensationalist other than doing a video. And the reason I'm doing it is because I have a lot of subscribers that came to me from a recommendation from Barry. So I want to clear up the confusion, if there is any. And also, I'm hoping he does see that I'm not a hyper-dispensationalist, and also comes to understand what I'm saying about Christ as our sanctification. So I just wanted to clarify that, because now there's a couple comments on my wall like rooting me on, and I'm not in any way trying to pick a fight, nor am I saying that there's a division. Unfortunately, the climate in YouTube is making it really difficult to have conversations, and I do feel like this one was necessary to clarify what is hyper-dispensationalist, and also to state unequivocally that I am not, and hopefully he'll watch it and see that. And my thirst is for fellowship and understanding, not to raise some argument, okay? Just clarifying. Thanks.